What are those Neanderthals up to? Don't they know I'm busy spoiling myself?
So, I don't usually do this. In fact, I never play these types of games. Turn-based RPG maker games just aren't my style. I love boomer shooters. I love the Souls franchise. But my favorite types of games are survival horror and action horror. Stuff like Condemned, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, you know, the good old disturbing classics. And in general, I prefer playing games from a first or third person perspective. But then one day some friends told me about this weird game. It looks creepy and it reminds me of Berserk. And I love Berserk. It's horrifying, depressing, disturbing, just a golly good old times. It's just so lovely. So I started watching some videos about it and eventually decided I'm ready to delve in. I started my first playthrough. I rocked up to this house to investigate, and before I even got inside of the dungeon, a pair of ducks came and tore me apart. I asked myself, why am I playing this shit? After 8 hours, after I finally found my target and unlocked the path to a place so ancient and decrepit, full of unspeakable horrors that no one should ever go to, I asked myself again, why am I playing this shit? Why? I went from playing a fun, fast-paced shooter to a depressing, slow-paced game about a big crow man that can peck your eyes out and make you go blind. That's normal, right? Though to be fair, in Rise of the Triad you can turn into a dog and make enemies explode by barking at them, so I don't even know what's weird. Fear and Hunger is a very cruel and oppressive game. It doesn't hold your hand, it wants you to suffer, but if you keep pushing and don't give up, you'll discover a really unique game with a captivating gameplay loop and deep lore, so deep it gives Dark Souls a run for its money. Basically, this game will slap your ass so hard that you will cry every night, but eventually you'll get used to it, and you'll even be able to slap the game back. This game came out in 2018. It was obscure and no one heard about it. But kind of like Among Us, which also came out in 2018, it suddenly gained massive popularity, and many people started making videos about it. Which is great, this game really deserves it. It's not a game for everyone, I mean look at it, but those who love it, really love it. And some people also called it the cruelest video game ever, which is not true. Don't get me wrong, Fear and Hunger is very cruel, but I think that its sequel, Fear and Hunger Termina, is way crueler. It puts you in way worse situations than ever before. You feel like the game is unfair, unbeatable, like it's mocking your very existence. And I'm not even talking about the masochist mode, which I try to beat, and you can even die in a fucking text adventure before you even start the game. This is what I want to focus on in this video, how it's much more punishing than its predecessor, how it's much more sadistic, and how it delves much deeper into psychological horror. But before we get to the sequel, let's quickly summarize the story of the first game. Spoilers incoming. Also, I didn't play with the censor mod because I wanted to experience the game in its original state, so I had to censor everything myself. Yay! Anyway, you begin the game by picking one of 4 characters. You play as either a lowly thief, a bookworm, Casca, or Guts, but without the horrible childhood. You need to find Griffith, to give him to the police, study him, rescue him, or beat the shit out of his sorry ass, respectively. You struggle, you adapt, and eventually you manage to fight your way to him and save him. But then you decide to travel to an ancient city. There you meet some lovely creatures, like the Harvest Man. Also, you kind of kill all of the gods, then you find out they were all fakers, and then you face the real gods, and then you most likely die, but your actions help humanity evolve. Somehow. The end. Basically, it's an awesome game with an awesome story. If you want a punishing game with deep lore, this is the game for you. Also, the guards kind of look like Spopovich from DBZ. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the second game. I'm going to spoil pretty much the entire game, so proceed with caution. Spoilers ahead. At first glance, Fear and Hunger 2 seems less fucked up than the first game. You're not stuck in some creepy dungeon, There are no buff dudes trying to molest you, and it's not even dark. You're mostly outside and it's daytime. It's more colorful than the first game, less black and grey, and almost immediately you have a lot of people to talk to. You don't feel that deep isolation and foreboding despair that you feel in the first game. Even the starting enemies aren't that challenging or scary. They're just some deformed villagers, kind of like in Resident Evil 4. But all of that is only a facade. Things are not as simple as they seem, and it gets more and more apparent the more you delve deeper into this game. You begin the game on a train. The train seems peaceful and calm, but unbeknownst to you, boarding this train was the biggest mistake of your life. In the first game, each character had their own unique reason as to why they were going into that godforsaken place. It was mainly to find this asshole. In the second game, there are also characters who left the safety of their homes to pursue some kind of objective, but some literally were just passing by and were trying to reach their own destination. Like this guy, who just wanted to get away from his hometown and find his sister. And this guy is the character that I mainly played as. I tried to play with a bunch of characters, but I mainly played with this character because he looks cool and he is also a Jojo reference. He is one of the Jojos, I don't care what you say. The characters were mostly expecting a normal train ride and were just trying to go somewhere. Of course, that's not what happened, and no one expected things to go this wrong. While on the train, you have a dream.
You're not perfect.
Okay, not that kind of dream. Even though this actually does kind of fit here, the train is seemingly abandoned and you try to make sense of it. You explore and eventually reach what was supposed to be a dead end. But instead, there is an out-of-place hole in the wall. You enter the hole and are greeted by the janitor? But this isn't your family-friendly janitor. This is a deformed creature who acts like your asshole boss at work. Your boss is probably also a deformed creature, let's be honest. He tells you that you need to keep working on some cubes. You don't know what the hell he's talking about, but if you disobey him, well... You don't want that to happen to you, so you listen to him. After doing something seemingly meaningless, you notice a girl next to you, who is also stuck in the same situation. She signals you to follow her, but that's not a good idea, so you run as fast as you can. And yes, you can run in this game. You don't need the dash skill from the first game, even though it's faster. You run until you reach the end of this place, and then you wake up. It was all a dream. The developer clearly took inspiration from the Silent Hill series when he made this section. Suddenly getting sucked into a different, more fucked up version of a place is a classic Silent Hill staple, and there are more places like this to come. Also, this whole section with the janitor is totally skippable. There's no need to actually do this, unless you just want to experience it for the story's sake. And obviously you should experience this in your first playthrough. But actually, that wasn't the end of the dream. After running from the janitor, you get pulled out of the dream into seemingly another dream, where you meet this lovely gentleman. His name is Perkley. Perkley? Perkley. Perkley, which means something like demon or devil in Finnish. Also, according to the game's creator, his design is also based on demons from some occult books. Good thing it's not based on demons from Doom, then he would probably look like an archvile or something. Behind him is the moon god, Rare. Anyway, he explains that you are about to be a contestant in a festival. The Festival of Termina. What is this festival? Why were you chosen for it? For now, you don't get any answers. The only concrete thing you are told is to head to the tower, and then... You wake up. You hope that it was all a strange dream, and you can just move on with your life. But of course, it's not that simple. The train stopped moving. With nothing else to do, you step out and meet with the other passengers. You then discover something bizarre. Each and every one of them, no matter what their backstory is or where they were going, they all had the same dream you had. Meaning, you are all contestants in this mysterious festival, and you're all stuck here. After some introductions, each of you goes their separate ways. With no other choice, you head towards the nearby town. The town of Prehevil. Prehevil? Pre-evil? Prehavel, whatever, I'll just call it Prague, because the town is actually based on Prague, at least partially. Like in the first game, you search for supplies wherever you can and hope to find something useful. But unlike the first game, where there's a good chance you'll get a powerful spell almost as soon as you start the game, as long as you avoid these fucking dogs, here you are weak and hopeless, confused and alone, in a big, open space. And of course, almost every item is randomized, so you never know what you're going to get. You could just run to your destination without picking up anything, but you'll just die faster that way. After wandering for a bit, you finally find someone. Hey, sir? Can you please tell me what's going on here? Oh shit! For most people, this will be the first enemy they encounter. Meet the Woodsman. He's called the Woodsman because his wood turns into a face hugger, jumps on your face, and then it does some terrible things to you. You can also imagine it's a head crab.
Whoa, no! Ah! Oh no!
But my Jotaro is so powerful, he doesn't even need hands to defeat him. Yeah, just double punch him with your stumps. It's not really recommended to fight the Woodsman, and it's usually not recommended to fight in general. Like in the original Resident Evil games, there's no real point in killing enemies. Most of the time, they don't drop anything, they're hard to kill, and they might soak up a lot of resources, like bullets and health, that you will use after getting hit. The only reason you would want to initiate a fight and kill them is because they are literally blocking your path and you need to progress, and it's the same thing with fear and hunger. But most unique enemies, like the Woodsman, do give you something upon death. It's just really not recommended to fight this guy at the start of the game, as he can cut off your arms and even just slap you to death. Instead, just go down this well. It will be lovely, I promise. You could go inside this house and steal everything, which might also be a form of victory. There's also a bed here. Lie on the bed. It will be lovely, I promise. On the way to Prague, you can recruit some characters to join your party, like this lovely red-haired lady, or even a goat. Don't recruit the goat. My toilet is a better party member than him. As you progress, you discover something that you already knew in your heart. Everything's fucked in here. The townspeople are all deformed and most of them are hostile. Really hostile. This place really gave me Resident Evil 4 vibes. This is very similar to the beginning of that game. The first villager you meet tries to kill you with an axe. Lots of villagers are chasing you and trying to kill you. One of them is a really powerful enemy. You have bear traps everywhere. You can even find a powerful weapon in some random house. Only here, they don't stop chasing you just so they can play bingo.
Where's everyone going?
Bingo?
After killing or escaping from these lunatics, you meet the mayor of this town. Only, just like you, he just got to this town, like a few hours ago. So I guess he just decided that he's the mayor now, and everyone was just like, okay. Obviously, this creature is deranged, and he can slice you up with a knife and a fork, but oddly enough, he can speak like a calm, normal person. After having a lovely conversation about some unique delicacies, he gives you one of the keys you need in order to progress. You find the other key inside of a bunker nearby. You also find him. What a lovely voice. Remember the Cromwell from the original game? He was probably the most dangerous enemy in that game. Not only was he following you throughout the game, he could break your bones and kill you with a single hit, which is not ideal.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
And if that wasn't bad enough, he can make you go fucking blind, which is a little bit inconvenient, I would say, and is effectively a game over because, well, not only are you going to miss almost every time, because you can't see the enemies, because you're fucking blind, not only that, but the game also looks like this, which is a little bit inconvenient, I would say. So the Cromwell is a pretty dangerous enemy, to say the least. Well, he's not present in the second game. He does not stalk you here. Instead, you have multiple stalkers that are arguably more dangerous than the Cromwell. Shit, first we have Needles. That's actually his name. Not only does this clown do a lot of damage, not only does he try to kidnap you and make you addicted to drugs and masturbation, He also actively hunts down and kills other contestants. I was lucky enough and managed to hit his head and kill him quickly. I recommend getting rid of him as soon as possible. Next we have this freak, the Death Mask. You see these coffins? Don't go near these coffins. He is very dangerous because he attacks twice, with each hand, and each attack has a high chance to chop off your arms. And you don't want that to happen. Eventually I was able to overcome him, and I created a little segment I like to call Humiliating the Death Mask. He gives probably the best headgear in the game, but it's best to just avoid him. There's also the Crow Bros, which are like two Cromwellers at the same time, but we do not talk about them. After getting all of the keys, you finally head inside of the town, and pretty soon, your wanted level goes up to 5, and you're chased by the police. This guy has 3 arms. And like in the first game, enemies don't just attack you once and that's it. No, they can attack with each limb, meaning this couple can attack 3 times in one turn. At least he doesn't attack with his legs. This is where the strategy of this game comes into play. Do you attack the arms to prevent the enemy from attacking and making the fight safer?
Surprise, surprise!
Do you ignore the arms completely and attack the torso so you can end the fight quickly? Or do you go straight for the head, which is usually not recommended because for most enemies there's little to no chance of hitting it. But if you do manage to hit it, you have the potential of ending the fight in a single turn. Usually you can only attack once per turn, so you have to choose carefully what and how you want to attack. There's also a new mechanic in this game called Rev Up. Each turn you get a single point. If you use a point before attacking, your attack will be stronger. If you use 2 points, your attack will be even stronger. If you use 3 points, which is the maximum points you can get, you will attack twice in one turn, which is really good. Rev points have some other uses, like making some magical attacks possible, but it's mostly used to increase your damage output. But sometimes you don't even need to attack. Sometimes you can make a fight easier or even tuck your way out of certain situations. Sometimes you can even make the enemies kill themselves, just by talking with them, which is hilarious. What was that? What was that? What was that? I said... Blah. There is one very important mechanic that I haven't talked about yet, which is the coin flip. If you've played the first game, or even just watched videos about it, then you know about the coin flip.
Call it. Call it, yes. For what? Just call it.
Look, I need to know what I stand to win.
Everything.
How's that?
You stand to win everything. Call it.
All right. Heads, then.
You know that you're usually fucked when there's a coin flip, because luck is almost never on your side. Basically, some enemies will initiate a coin flip attack, meaning you have a 50-50 chance of dodging an incoming attack, but in actuality it always feels like a 20-80 chance, not a 50-50 chance. And that's me being generous. You can increase your chances by holding shift on the keyboard, which lets you flip 2 coins at the same time. There is a guaranteed way that you can win the coin flip game, which is just don't play it. You see, if you know that a coin flip attack is coming, either by reading the warning signs or by remembering the enemy's moves, you can just use the option to guard. Guard is usually used to just minimize the damage that you receive, but if you guard just before a coin flip attack, you will dodge it completely without the need to rely on a coin flip, which is amazing. It can literally save your life. You also encounter coin flips outside of battle, like pretty much every time you open a chest. And in the first game, it also happened every time you try to save your game, which is a little bit inconvenient. If you succeed, then you get to save your game, you get to save your whole progress and move on. But if you fail, well, bad things might happen. Unless there are no enemies around, then you can save without facing any danger. But you still need to do the coin flip, which is kind of stupid and unnecessary. Thankfully, we don't need to worry about that here. There's no coin flip when you try to sleep. If there are enemies around, they will just come to you the moment you try to sleep. So actually not having a coin flip makes it worse, and that leads me to talk about the main goal of the game, and also the save system, which is the most unique save system I've ever seen. I don't know if I truly like it, because it is annoying, but I've never seen anything like it. Like in the first game, you need to sleep in a bed in order to save the game, and every time you sleep, you go back to the dream. Here you can level up your skills. I didn't really use skills for most of the game, which was a mistake, because they can be very powerful. You level up by using soul stones, which are easy to get. All you need to do is find a bouncer and just use it on the heads of your enemies and give them to the dark god that rises from a pool of blood. You can also talk to Perkley. Perkley informs you which of the other contestants have died and which are still alive. Also, each time you sleep, regardless if you save the game or not, time moves forward. And you also realize that you only have 3 days until the end of the festival. And after that, some bad things will happen. It's here that you figure out that, yeah, it's a survivor type story. As in, you need to be the only survivor left. You have to slaughter each other in order to survive. Kind of like in S.T.A.L.K.E.R.S or Squid Game. You have to be the only living contestant by the end of the 3rd day. Only then you might be allowed to leave this place. The first game obviously takes inspiration from dark fantasy tropes. It's like a combination of Berserk and Call of Cthulhu. Cthulhu. So what's the inspiration for the second game? Well, here it's more like a combination of Call of Cthulhu and something like Battle Royale. Basically, if you're the last man or woman or anything in between standing, then you win and you get the chance to live another day. But maybe there's another way, a more logical way. We'll see. Oh, and because time moves forward every time you sleep, you have to be very careful and not sleep too much. If you sleep at the end of day 3, you won't get to day 4. So you can't really save scum, which makes the game even harder, which is a little bit inconvenient. Did I tell you that this game was cruel? Are you starting to see how there's so much more pain here than in the first game? And this is literally only the beginning. On my first playthrough in the first game, I saved scum. I saved scum a lot. I abused this game, just as it abused me. Every time I made some progress, I ran back to the safe spot like a little bitch. But that's not possible here. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying knowing that you've made a lot of progress, somehow survived really tough battles, only to then contemplate if you should save, because that will get you closer and closer to the end of day 3. But there are a few safe ways to save, without moving time forward. You can use a Book of Enlightenment. You can use it whenever you want and wherever you want, which is amazing. Another way to save is by praying to the god of fear and hunger, which is tied to one of the endings from the first game. Let's get back to the story. You keep moving, avoiding enemies as much as you can, especially these fucking cops, until you see this. The beast doesn't attack you. It seems like you were so insignificant that it didn't even notice you. For now. You panic and you run inside a nearby church. After exploring a bit and fighting a pillarman? After doing that, you realize that you need to place 3 artifacts on the altars here, and then something will happen. The first artifact is right here, in this church. Just drop the chandelier. Do not go into this room. While looking for the artifact, you fight some snail people who always mention your father for some reason. Why are they mentioning your father, huh, viewer? Did he do something naughty again? Also, remember this guy? Well, you meet him here, and after you meet him, you reload your save. You're just focused on finding the artifact, and eventually, you do find it. You place it on the altar, and then you're off to find the other 2. After exploring some more, you meet a tall and classy cat gentleman, who is a really nice guy and is definitely not a furry.
Oh, hello there.
He actually appeared in the first game, where he could sell you some really nice stuff if you did him the smallest of favor, a small and logical favor, of sacrificing a literal child. And now, he's here. He basically breaks the fourth wall by telling you about how long it's been since he has seen you, the player. He talks about COVID-19 and how people are stocking up on toilet paper and hiding in their homes. Yeah, that sounds familiar from like 3 years ago. Basically, he's a fucking creeper, but he does sell you some really nice things, including a Book of Enlightenment, which, again, is how you save the game without progressing time, which is really important. At least here, you don't need to give him children for that. Instead, you just need to kill the other contestants and chop their heads off, which is better? I mean, you've probably chopped like at least 10 heads on the way here. So what's a few more? Now this is where the game starts to get a little bit difficult. Remember everything that I've told you up until now? How this game is even more sadistic and cruel than the first game? Well, forget all of that. Everything up until now was child's play. Now the real shit begins. You're moving forward, exploring. You expect some monster or some weird person to come and attack you. You know, the usual. And then this happens. Say hello to the mob. They are one of the toughest, most horrible fights in this game. One of them can shoot you, one of them can smash your face in, and one of them is the best weapon in the game and can hit you 3 times in a row. And if that wasn't enough, he can also slice your limbs off. Not good. After many tries, you are somehow able to beat them. And after beating them, you get one of the ingredients to make that awesome chainsaw, that awesome meat grinder that he was using, which, like I said, is the best weapon in the game. You know what's funny and awesome and fantastic? Getting through all of that bullshit, finally winning after like 50 tries, and then stepping on a landmine and losing all of your progress. It's okay, at least nothing like that happens in real life. Oh shit! After killing the mob and not stepping on a landmine, you find a nice little shop. Here you can buy some useful items. And one of them is the Hardened Heart, which allows you to survive one fatal blow, which already sounds really nice, but then you realize that it's not a one-time thing. If you get hit and this ability activates, and then you manage to heal yourself, the ability restarts. If you have a way of always healing yourself, like for example using a ring that restores your health every time you hit an enemy, you can basically become immortal, which is really nice. It's not perfect, and there are flaws, but it's really nice to have. Also, if you go to the room behind the merchant, you can find a magical lamp that can grant any wish that you desire. Touch it, it will be lovely, I promise. Eventually you get to your next destination, a nice, little, definitely not haunted, orphanage. Like I said earlier, the beginning of this game gave me serious RE4 vibes, but this place gives me serious Silent Hill 1 vibes. Being inside of a creepy facility made for children, and then also getting attacked by child-like creatures, and then also getting teleported to an alternate dimension was a big part of that game, and it's no less creepy here. After some non-child killing and potential pedophile killing, you finally find the second artifact. Only one more left, and the last one is inside the most creepy apartment building I have ever seen. Yes, even creepier than the one in Silent Hill 2, and Cry of Fear, which is based on the one in Silent Hill 2.
Hello there.
This place is called the Moldy Apartments. I wonder why. Remember how you can save the game by sleeping on a bed? Don't sleep on these beds. Instead, you go downstairs and find a bloody washing machine. Of course it's locked with a password, just like any other normal bloody washing machine. I sound like a British person. Normal bloody washing machine. Normal bloody washing machine. But no, it's actually bloody. So you go back upstairs and watch TV. You see a news broadcast about this town. And hey, look, it's one of the contestants. Well, okay, she is a reporter. It does make sense that she would be reporting the news, right? Only if you have her in your party, she will say that that's not her, that couldn't be her. She's never even been to this town up until now. The only explanation is...
Bitch!
No, actually, it's actually a doppelganger. Some thing copied her appearance and personality. And she's not the only one. If you explore enough, you might find actual doppelgangers of some of the contestants. They appear and behave exactly like them. But if you look closer, they actually have a lovely smile, which is somewhat refreshing in this place. You can kill them and chop their heads off, and use them to buy things from Pocket Cat, because I guess they are also viewed as contestants in this festival. It's really useful, especially if you don't want to kill the actual contestants. At the end of the broadcast, she mentions some numbers. By using these numbers, and also a journal that you find lying on a strange sigil on the floor, you're finally able to unlock the washing machine. Or, instead of doing all of that, you can just fight the washing machine. Maybe I would expect a washing machine fight in some goofy comedy game, but not in a fucked up survival horror game. I genuinely love that you can do that. Either way, you get inside of it, which is also a very normal thing to do. I don't know if every washing machine does this, but this one leads you into another Silent Hill nightmare world, where you hear the most awful soundtrack ever. If insanity was a song, this would be it. After walking around in this insanity and fighting some creepy neighbors who wear their shorts upside down. Come on, man, like, I know you're a spooky monster, but at least wear your clothes right. That's just embarrassing. Eventually, you finally find the last artifact. You start heading back to the church, but on the way there, you discover a local pub. You head inside because, why not? And you are greeted with a calm, relaxing tune. The music in these games. Most of the time it's hard to actually call it music. It's more like hearing your soul being crushed by an elephant. Like someone took all of your fears and anxieties and turned them into audio. This is the type of music you usually hear. Damn, it's so messed up, I love it. It really fits these games. It really makes you feel like you're stuck in a desperate struggle for survival, and no one is coming to save you. But weirdly enough, there is an actually relaxing song here. The name of the song is Lost Haven Shillings, and it plays when you enter the town's pub. I really liked all of the disgusting audio that are in these games, but this soundtrack is probably my favorite. I actually listen to the soundtrack outside of the game, if I want to just relax. It's really good. Finally. After all this time, you finally feel like you can genuinely take a break and just chill with your new friends. Reflect on everything you've been through together. You can talk to them and get to know them more. Your interactions and the information you receive depends on which characters you bring here. Like in the first game, there are a lot of interactions you can have with characters. You can recruit them, help them, and even kill them, depending on the situation. Some characters are nice and friendly. They offer to help you and can even save your life, while others are pieces of shit who try to break your legs with their cha-cha dance, so you show them who's boss and destroy their pretentious ass. But unlike the first game, there are a lot of characters here. Way more than the first game, which means there is a lot more variety here, and lots of different builds you can make in your party. It also means that a lot more horrible things can happen, but we'll get to that soon. For now, while we have this opportunity, let's just relax in this club, have a drink, and discuss how Griffith did nothing. Is that a secret basement? Oh, Oh, nice.
Nice.
This basement is filled with goodies and even a save point. You also find this map with 3 X's on it. It's probably not important. As comfy and safe as it is here, it's not entirely peaceful, because you know that eventually, at some point, you need to go back outside and face the horrors all over again. I would have just stayed in this pub. And I don't even like alcohol. After exiting the pub, you make your way back to the church. You place the artifacts and go through the secret passage. Finally, you're feeling like you're making some genuine progress. Nothing can stop you now. Oh, it's the beast from earlier. It didn't pay attention to you before, but now it wants to challenge you. This beast is not like the rest. He's not totally insane. He actually just enjoys fighting. He wants a challenge, always looking for the next hunt. Kind of like the Predator.
You're one ugly motherfucker.
But no matter how much of an alpha male he thinks he is, he runs away after I cut one of his arms. Bitch, you know how many times my arms were chopped off and I still kept going? And I'm just a lowly human. And now you finally get to your destination. Remember what Berkeley said in the dream? To head to the tower? Well, you're finally here. But you get a really bad feeling about this. Like you're not even supposed to get close to it. You get a primal urge to run away. But curiosity gets the best of you. You touch the stone door and you pay for it. One by one, all of your party members succumb to the madness. One by one, they transform into hideous monstrosities. You can't even comprehend that creatures like this could ever exist. And one of them isn't even trying to attack you. He's just crying. His head literally fused with a rifle. It became part of it, and it's going to be stuck like that forever. He is aware of it. He tries desperately to get it off, but it's no use. It's never coming off. In the end, if you manage to survive this madness, you will be left all alone, after finally meeting people who can help you, people that you got to know and got close to, people who you might have even considered your friends, who gave you some hope in this darkness. You lose them. Broken and beaten, you lose all of your party members. You are left weak and alone. Man, I would have been so pissed if I didn't save beforehand. Whew! In the first game, you could have something like this happen if you chose very specific paths, but there was nothing like this. Nothing this genuinely terrifying. Not only are you witnessing characters totally losing themselves, you also get to witness these fucked up monster designs, which I love. I love creepy things like this, but holy shit, this is freaky, even to me, because my imagination runs wild. I start to think about what these characters are thinking and how they are feeling. It's so messed up. Levi's transformation is the freakiest, especially because it seems like he's still in there somewhere, mentally and physically. He's desperately trying to get out and return to his normal self, but all he can do is cry. And it's even more freakier when you realize that these aren't just random transformations. At least I think it's not, although I'm not really sure about some of the characters. The transformation represents their personality, their views and ideologies. It's so messed up, I love it. Why is all of this happening to you, you ask? Oh, you didn't ask. I'll tell you anyway. It's happening because of the moon god. Remember that thing behind Berkeley? This multi-eyed dickhead? This is the moon god, and he is basically responsible for turning everyone into abominations. He makes them go mad and transform into hideous creatures. After some time since the beginning of the festival, a character will transform into their monster form. You know how in Dark Souls characters would go hollow, they would lose their mind and become hostile? And it seems like the protagonist always had the most resistance to this affliction, but it still affected them to some degree. Well, it's kind of the same, only here they lose their mind and also turn into abominations. Very powerful abominations. Here this process is called Moonscorched, and it can happen at different times for different characters. Some characters might have a strong willpower and will be able to delay the transformation, but some can have mental breakdowns and transform much quicker. Like this woman, who at first seems like your ordinary, run-of-the-mill creepy stalker. Nothing special, but very quickly she starts to lose herself in her obsession and begins to transform. This process will eventually happen to all of the contestants, but if you touch this door, it happens immediately to everyone who isn't the main character. But even if you don't touch this door, by the end of day 3, everyone will be Moonscorched. Besides you. But remember what I said about sleeping at the end of day 3? Yeah, that's you getting Moonscorched. So basically, you're fucked. Unless you kill everyone before the end of the 4th day. Maybe then it would be safe to touch this door. But let's move on for now. And let's reload our save so we don't lose anyone because of some stupid door. This time, you choose to ignore the tower for now and keep moving. The next thing you see is a museum which loops endlessly. It seems like there's some kind of party. There are a lot of people here. They are clearly deformed and delusional, but unlike the other residents that you've met so far, they are not hostile towards you. They're not hostile at all. They're just chilling, vibing, enjoying the party. In fact, they're enjoying it so much that they don't even feel how time is passing by. Kind of like me, when I am making weird videos like this in the middle of the night. You feel weird about all of this, but you don't complain. It actually feels kind of nice when people aren't trying to murder you. But this isn't just some random museum. It has statues of some old gods and also some other ancient relics from the past. This place clearly has some ties to the first game. It has some significance. Also, you can talk to this PDF file again, which I do recommend because you might be able to buy a Book of Enlightenment from him. Or you could just murder him in cold blood.
Oh, behave!
After a few minutes of exploring, you come across this door. It seems like it's locked, and okay, I'm going to drop the act and save you some time. You need to talk to this person, and this person. They give you the solution to the puzzle that opens this door. You go here, you make it so the clock says 1:45, and here you choose the triangle inside of a triangle. Got it? Good. The door opens. You enter. And what's this? Someone's been digging here. Why would someone be digging under a random ass museum inside of a random ass town? At least that's what you think at first.
What a thrill.
Come on, it's a big ass ladder. I had to play this. You find a door, but it's locked. There's seemingly no way to open it. But wait, what's this? Electroscope? Wait, that word seems familiar to you. Yes, it's that random machine you saw and activated in some small bunker. You didn't understand what the purpose of it was, but maybe it's not so random after all. You only need to activate 2 more machines. But actually, when you think about it, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to do it. You found this place by accident. You don't have to go here. The only thing left for you to do is to just kill everyone, so you can try and enter the creepy tower. But you don't want to do it. At least not yet. For now, you want to satisfy your curiosity. You need to know what's behind that giant door, so you continue to explore this godforsaken town. And of course, the best way to do that is by going into the sewer system. Yay! As shitty as it is, this kind of acts like a fast travel system, because the sewers are connected to various parts of the city. It also leads you to the next tunnel that you need. You just need to solve a puzzle. Go down here, and is that a giant rat? Is he running away? Well, you've definitely seen stranger things here. You think he might lead you to some treasure, so you go after him. And he kind of does, but then this happens.
You picked the wrong house, fool! 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 Oh!
You get gangbanged, and now you're fighting 6 rats at the same time. That's nice, yes, very nice. The spell Mischief of Rats is really useful here. And it's useful in general. It has a chance to stun every limb and every enemy. In this case you fight big rats with small rats. This fight looks intimidating, but after a while you manage to beat them down. Now you have 6 heads that you can collect. And feed to the dark gods. You know what is intimidating? And said, no, it can't be. It's moonless Moonless was an enemy you could recruit to your party in the first game. She could attack twice and cause bleed damage to the enemies, and I got kind of attached to her. She was a really cute murder puppy, but now she's a big murder puppy. Hey, good girl, what have you been up to for the past 400 years? I see you have been eating well. I really don't want to attack you, but if you don't stop attacking me, I'm going to make your eyes eat these glass shards. No, no, no! This is Great Wolf Sif all over again. There's even sad music in the background. After a heartbreaking fight, you manage to repel the beast. You're about to deal the finishing blow, but your fight is suddenly interrupted by this badass. You couldn't show up earlier, huh? This is August. He's also one of the contestants. You could sometimes see him throughout your journey. He's usually seen killing enemies and jumping on rooftops and doing awesome shit. He tells you that Moonless is a family friend and she meant no harm. So I guess her trying to eat me and scratch my head off was just her way of greeting me. You can also find out that he is from the same country as the Outlander from the first game. Maybe he is the great whatever grandson. Does that mean that after the first game, the Outlander kept Moonless as a pet and she was passed down to the next family member? Did she come to this town with August, or was she just here in this town by coincidence? For some reason, I don't think there was enough space on the train for her, but that doesn't matter, because you never see them again after this. You move on and activate the second machine. There's only one left. You just need to go through this forest. Seems ordinary enough. It's actually kind of nice in here. Finally, you're about to reach the final tunnel, but then a giant horse creature stampedes all over you and destroys your party, just out of nowhere. Did I already tell you that this game is cruel? Also, you can talk to frogs for some insults, if you want to feel even worse about your situation. Eventually, you get inside the final tunnel, and for some reason, it feels a little bit different from the others. It feels more evil. Then you see this giant cum stain. You prefer not to touch it, so you move on. But then a spooky lady starts a fight with you over the fence. Hey baby, you're kind of cute. You're probably a freak, huh? Maybe we can... I'm just kidding, just die. You find the last computer and activate it. Finally, you can go back to the museum and see what's behind that big ass door. You're just going to check what's inside, and then you'll get out and try to get into that creepy tower. You just want a sneak peek, nothing more. Just a few minutes and... The door closes behind you. You are stuck. You sealed your fate by succumbing to your curiosity. The only thing left to do is to move deeper and deeper and deeper while fighting multiple powerful enemies, avoiding this fucker's flame attack and coming across disturbing scenery. Nope. And then you see this seductive lady and...
Nice! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Shit, this is one of the freakiest enemies I've ever seen. It's like a fusion between multiple people and a tank. Cool. This can be a really tough fight, until you murder the hot lady dude, which makes the tank monster confused, and he is really tanky, pun intended. He has a lot of health. After pretty much killing everything in this bunker, you head even deeper, where you see a vision of the gods. You also saw them in the beginning of the game. Some of them are from the first game. Some are even older. You feel like you're close to the climax. It even says the climax. And then you meet a man with a yellow robe. This is the Kaiser. He starts talking about some logic, some machine god. He came to this city for this purpose. But why? Who is this random character that shows up out of nowhere? Well, remember at the start of the video where we talked about Griffith from the first game? It was like an hour ago, come on, you probably remember. Well, his actual name is Lagarde. He had the normal and relatable goal of ascending to a higher plane of existence and becoming a god. And, in one of the endings, he succeeds. He came to be known as the Yellow King. And if you fight him, you hear this. This track is called Pulse and Anxiety. You already heard it earlier in the video. It's played when you fight against major boss characters. And when you reach the Kaiser, with the yellow robe, you hear this. That's right, a remixed version of Pulse and Anxiety, creatively named Pulse and Anxiety 2. If it wasn't obvious yet, this is THE.K.E.R.S. After becoming a god at the end of the first game, he easily rose to power and conquered many lands. His ultimate goal was to unite humanity under one rule, his own rule. But after a few centuries, he realized that it's not really possible to do so under conventional brute force. So he decided to go in a more logical direction. He pretty much fights like he did in the original. He even has the same snake that heals him for some reason. The Battle of the Gods is here and now. This is it. And after all that hype, you kick his ass. Yeah, it wasn't a hard fight. I don't know if him turning into goo means that he died or just teleported away. But either way, you can proceed forward. You have one less chance to use up all of your items outside of combat, because it's finally time for the actual final boss. This looks like nothing you've ever seen before. It doesn't fit in this place. It doesn't look creepy at all. It just looks like, oh, there it is. If you're fast enough, you can actually kill it before it transforms. It looks like some kind of machine, and it's somehow connected to these computers. All of this is kind of futuristic. This is 1942, goddammit. How can something like this exist? Apparently, this was THE.K.E.R.S. plan all along. Remember how like a minute ago I said that he tried to unite humanity under one rule, but he failed, so he looked for a more logical way? Well, he found a way. This is it. I'm about to hit you with some truth bombs. Remember that girl from the dream? You can actually see her sometimes. You catch glimpses of her each time you enter a tunnel, and sometimes you see her in other places. She was originally the sister of one of the contestants, and she came to investigate this creepy town. But then THE.K.E.R.S. kidnapped her. And remember how you were building cubes in the beginning? In that weird dream with the janitor? This will make more sense if you've played the first game, but basically, these are supposed to be replicas of a special cube that has a connection with the old gods. The cube had some magical bullshit, so he took the cubes, combined their power with this girl, and created this thing. Makes sense, right? And he named her Logic. Just Logic. Very logical, what can I say? And how does all of that connect to the festival and everything that happened until this point? Fuck if I know. It seems like THE.K.E.R.S. plan and the festival just happened at the same time, by coincidence. Or maybe the moon god knew that THE.K.E.R.S. would come to this town, and only then started the festival. Who knows? Maybe I missed something in the lore. Oh, and the boss herself is really tanky. The fight lasted like half an hour for me. She has a lot of deadly attacks, but as long as you know what to target and have a healing spell, you're all good. Then it becomes more of an endurance battle. If I had used damage boosting items and had stronger weapons like the meat grinder, this fight would be over way quicker. I did use all of those things on my masochism playthrough, and the fight ended really quickly. Oh, and I have to mention the music. Just like with THE.K.E.R.S., this fight has a really cool callback to the first game. The song played here is a homage to the song that is played when you enter the City of the Gods in the first game, which is basically ground zero for the insanity of these games. That is where it all started. Listen to this. The music was composed by the creator of the game and by Chili Makes Music. They did an amazing job. Amazing job of giving me PTSD, but seriously, they did some fantastic work here. The sound design in general is great. You really feel like whatever is happening on screen is really happening. Some of the songs that I've used throughout the video were made by them. All of these ties to the first game were hinted as soon as you stepped inside of the museum, which is located just above the bunker. That is not a coincidence. Eventually you beat her ass, but not really. This is what actually happens. You are plunged into a green void. Even though you will never return to the outside world, you feel calm and safe. You feel a warm feeling, like nothing you've ever felt before. You're floating in nothingness. Yet at the same time, you feel connected to the world. You become a part of something much bigger than yourself. Humanity always tried to reach the power of the gods, to become gods themselves. But what if, instead of trying to achieve the power of some ancient beings, humans could create their own god? A machine god, something that unites all of us in a digital world. No matter who we are or what we are all connected now. Basically, this god transports your consciousness to another plane of existence and combines you with all of our other victims. Yeah, this is pretty much a metaphor for the internet. Each and every one of us, me, you the viewer, and every person in the world, are all individual entities. But with the rise of the internet, we can stay connected to each other no matter where we are. We occupy the same digital space, and through our communications with each other, we create a shared consciousness. We are united under a single entity. This is pretty much the idea behind the logic. THE somehow created the internet during the Second War. Or maybe all of this is just a parody of the Matrix. I don't know, but forget all of this bullshit. Practically speaking, you fucking died. You and your whole party. You can see that you're not shown with the rest of the survivors, which, you know, makes this a bad ending, but hey, at least it feels nice, so it's all good, right? No, it's not. This is a shitty ending to get after everything you've been through. So how about we get a different ending? You know how I said that it's time for the final boss? And remember how your goal from the very beginning was to go to the tower, but then you get distracted by some computers? Well, there's another final boss. If you ignore the whole bunker nonsense and remain the only contestant alive, either by hunting everyone down or by waiting for them to die on their own, you can finally enter this tower. It's the tower from the dream. And on top of it, you meet this handsome gentleman again. He tells you that you win. That's it. You can go home. Yay! Game over. All you had to do was massacre a bunch of people. Yay! But of course it's not that simple. This is fear and hunger, bitch. Even though you won the festival, you still need to fight this guy. This can be a really tough battle. He can shoot you like 100 times and deflect your attacks. This can take a while, unless you do what I do and use the analyze skill on him, which allows you to immediately target his head. And then it's just over. It's just over for him. You can kill him in like 2 turns. But wait! There's more! There's another final boss. You know how in Dragon Ball, characters would just casually destroy the moon with some energy blasts? Well, you get to do it with some black magic. Or a chainsaw. Does that mean you can beat Goku? The moon god is pretty much responsible for turning the entire population into mindless degenerates, including all of your friends. He can also make you go insane in the middle of the fight, just by looking at you. Because that's how it is with ancient beings. We can't even fathom their existence. We can't comprehend what they are. We can go insane just by looking at them. Only, this isn't really the moon god. All of the old gods left a long time ago. These are just his traces, some leftovers that were left behind, a fraction of his power, and it was still powerful enough to cause all of this mess, all of the shit you've been through during this story. It was actually the work of a different god entirely, a god so ancient, so evil, and so forgotten that almost nobody remembers his existence. He brings nothing but misery, madness, and chaos. This is the Sulfur God. But why? Why exactly did he do it? What is actually the purpose of all of this? Pain and suffering. Does he do it just because he thinks it's fun? Or is there some greater purpose to all of this? I don't fucking know. It's never explained. My best guess is that he needs a lot of sacrifices to gain power and influence. The festival provides him with all of these sacrifices, and the one who survives the festival can become his vessel. At the end of the day, there is no meaning. There is no grand meaning to our lives. Each and every one of us needs to put their own meaning into their lives. We decide what's important to us and what we should be doing with our lives. But even then, our actions may already be determined by some ancient beings that only want to use us as sacrifices and entertainment. Maybe they themselves don't know why they do what they do. Maybe there is no point to anything we do. But hey, at least you can cut the moon with a motherfucking chainsaw, so why should you even play this game, if it's even harder and crueler and more unforgiving than the first one, which was already very hard and cruel? Why put yourself through all of this suffering? Are you a masochist? Because like I said, there's a mode called masochism. It's like playing the base game while being blind and letting piranhas eat your balls. I got sidetracked there for a bit. I think this game is most definitely not for everyone. You need to have a specific taste in horror, and you do need to be at least a little bit of a masochist. A little bit. If that sounds like you, and if anything that you've seen in this video appealed to you, then you should definitely play this. It has a unique sense of horror that I've never seen before, and I've played a lot of good horror games. It's not only disturbing because of the horrifying and Lovecraftian monster designs, but also because of all of the mechanics and how they work together to create a truly hopeless atmosphere. But despite all of that, the game is still beatable, right? Despite of all of the horrifying things that you see in this game, despite of how brutal and unfair it can seem at times, which is most times, you can still win. You can still beat up the gods. You can still use a chainsaw on a motherfucking moon. Which means that even when you're in the worst situation possible, there's always something you can do. There's always something that can push you forward. There's always hope. And that's a beautiful mindset to have. That's one of the things that I take away from this game. Even though most of the endings in these games suggest that there is no hope, but still. And it also feels great when a plan comes together and you manage to overcome a tough situation, in this game and in real life as well. Basically what I'm saying is that you should buy this torture simulator. Buy both torture simulators. I still can't decide which one I like more. The second one is definitely harder, at least in the beginning. There are way tougher enemies here than in the first game, and it takes a while until you actually become somewhat powerful. It is more frustrating, but if you hang on and persevere, there will come a point when you will feel like a god among men, a god among monsters. Both games are amazing. They both have a deep sense of exploration and lots of variety. And they are dirt cheap. And always remember, no matter how much you will suffer in these games, it will still be less painful than in a game of League of Legends. I'm really genuinely happy these games get the attention they deserve, and I hope they get even more popular. I want to see the community grow and more animations made about these games. People already made some amazing videos about these games. So in conclusion, Fear and Hunger is a very cool game, but it's not the cruelest game ever. Fear and Hunger 2 is the cruelest game ever made. I rest my case. Thanks for watching, hope you will play these games and enjoy the suffering. It took me like a month to make this video, so I really hope you enjoyed it. More spooky videos to come.
I had fun watching this, it made me feel a little bit better, so that's about it. See ya.
We all know the real reason to play this. The Dungeon Knight mode.